Hello everyone and welcome to the grand finale of this Season 12 Championship. We've had a long season of 20 races, just one remains. My name is Shane and joining me for the final time this season is Dan.
Yeah, thank you, Shane. This Season 12 campaign has gone all over the world and it comes down to one final battle here in Abu Dhabi, with the championship still up for grabs. After Brazil, Nervo has a crucial championship lead of 13 points over Alex, and so Alex realistically has to win this race and hope that Nervo finishes 4th or below. There are still so many championship places to be decided heading into the final round, and so every driver will be giving it their all. But before all that, it's time for the qualifying report.
Here we are for the qualifying comparison for the final race of what has been a very long 21 round season of AOR PS4 F1, and to take us around the Yas Marina circuit we've got Jamie and Clarky in the Red Bull and the McLaren respectively going into turn 1, medium speed corner, just trying to carry as much momentum through there as possible, and flat out through the left-hander, going up the hill while turning through turn 3, have to lift off slightly before getting back on the throttle as early as possible in 7th gear. Interestingly, both drivers having some yellow flag distractions going into the chicane, but it didn't seem to put them off to a notable extent as they now head into the slowest corner on the circuit. Turn 7, the hairpin, where getting the traction out of the corner is completely crucial. And so far in the lap, it's Clarky who is a car length or so ahead of Jamie. He then therefore gets to open DRS slightly earlier on this lap, as they now head flat out in 8th gear down to the very heavy braking zone for turn 8, just before the 100-meter board, and slowing it down all the way to 2nd and 1st gear even in the case of Clarky, opening up the entry to 9 and then carrying as much speed as possible onto the 2nd DRS straight. Both of these straights we should expect to see a lot of action throughout the race. And as you can see, Clarky still maintains a very slight advantage over Jamie so far on the lap, as they head hard on the brakes into the triple chicane complex of 11, 12 and 13. Important to nail the apex through there. Can take quite a bit of curb. You have to make sure it doesn't unsettle the cars, stay away from the cone on the inside. But 14 before the short run into the triple apex flat out corner, where at least the first 2 apexes are flat out, and then we break down into the 3rd one. 90 degrees, 2nd gear again, and then going underneath a beautiful hotel. Can be quite a tricky section. The curbs through here really can unsettle the cars, but these guys attacking them quite a bit. At this stage they only have 2 corners remaining in the lap. Don't bottle it, carrying the speed through 19 in 4th gear, braking wide into the final corner, easing it towards the apex. Back on the throttle we go with a bit of correction for both drivers, and in the end for these guys it's P4 and P6 on the grid, only a 10th apart.
So in the final qualifying session of the season, it was Jim Nervo Tank to take his 12th pole position of the season, and he'll be lining up on the front row alongside Big Shot. They were only 2 of 3 drivers to qualify within the top 10 that were starting on the ultra soft tyre. Alex took a very crucial P3, the first of the drivers to be on the super softs, and he'll line up alongside Jamie 995, once again impressing as a reserve. On the 3rd row, it'll be M4 and Clarky, with Aresi and Ali K just behind them. NBA Ruben was the 3rd driver to qualify on ultra softs and will be forced to start on that tyre, with Big C rounding out the top 10. Super Scrub and RBS were the first of the drivers to get a free choice of tyre heading into the race, with Jake Jonas for 13th and 14th. Theo and Kian will be on the 8th row, with Demon, Dan and Nummer rounding out the grid for this Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. It's the final race of the season. Let's get on with it.
So we've had 612 laps so far this season, just 28 more separate us from crowning a new AOR champion, and we've got the 2 title protagonists starting on different compounds as well. So we've got the recipe here, Dan, for a thrilling race.
We really have. We've got Alex in P3, probably on the one-stop strategy, with Nervo choosing to qualify on the ultra softs, but has got that crucial pole position, which I have to say is probably a wise idea for Nervo. As we've seen so far this season, his problem seems to occur when he gets stuck in traffic, and on that 2-stop he should be able to have plenty of fresh air to put in some good lap times on some very fresh tyres. Here's on board with Alex. We've known him throughout the season for being able to save his tyres, extending the stints, and that's brought us in great results, such as I think back to Malaysia, where he was able to pull off that one-stop strategy. But today, lots of other drivers will be joining him on that one-stop, and he'll need them, because he's going to need what 2 people between him and Nervo for him to have any chance of winning this championship.
Yeah, realistically, Alex has to mathematically just finish on the podium to have any chance of winning the championship, being 13 points behind. as we now head down towards turn 8 and 9 at the chicane. And two DRS zones then, one down the back straight that we've just been on, and the other down this back straight that we are now currently on. And then into the tight, twisty triple chicane at turn 11, 12, 13, which we should see a lot of overtaking down the at the end of the back straights into the chicanes. And because of the nature of the circuit and nature of how powerful the slipstream combined with the DRS will be. Now on board with Jonas, obviously these guys further back choosing, as there's a little bit of a concertina effect going up there. Not sure why, but yeah, a lot of these guys choosing to go on the soft, apart from NBA Rubin. Now looking back at Big Shot. So now as we go through under the Yas Marina Hotel, who's your money on to win the championship tonight, Dan?
Oh God, it's not even just win the race, it's who is going to win this entire championship. I think Nervo, with that 13-point advantage, is in a very, very good position. If he does what we know he can do, and just pull out in the lead, put in some good lap times, then we know he's got the pace to pretty much beat everyone in this field. So if he's able to do that today, then I feel he should be able to come away with this championship, even if he does lose the race to Alex. But as Kian pulls up in the grid, down in P16, not able to support his teammate, and Alex hasn't got any support from his teammate because he's not here. So now, as we build up towards 5 lights, take us through the start, Shane.
Here we go then. Lights are out and away we go for the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. Aresi got off to a very lag start there, I think, and either jumped the start or got a lag start, which enabled him to get up through the grid. But now, as we go through turn 1, Nervo still leads. Big Shot is second. The two Red Bulls of Alex and Jamie, the reserve, in 4th place. Alex has still maintained that position, and now on board with Clarkey in 6th place. I think these guys have pretty much all stayed status quo from where they started with. And now looking at M Thorn in 5th place, and there's a couple of moves going on in the background at the hairpin, and yeah, these guys have all pretty much stayed exactly where they are off the grid, apart from Aresi, who got that lag start. And now as we head down towards the chicane of turn 8 and 9 down the back straight, now on board with Alex into turn 8, and he's later on the brakes than Big Shot, and Big Shot already really slowed down that back straight, and Nervo has broken away, probably outside of the slipstream zone and the DRS zone already. But now Big Shot is coming back at Alex in the slipstream in towards turn 11. Is he going to be brave enough on the brakes to go around the outside? He's going to try it. Not. Oh, is he? Yeah, through the apex. But no, he's going to have to back out of that one. And that's caused a massive concertina effect behind them as we go into the last part of the lap. But Nervo looks like he's well gone. He's got a 2 or 3 second lead already.
Yeah, this is really ideal for the Renault driver, because Alex, his championship rival, has just backed up the entire pack with that battling through the 2 DRS straights. But Big Shot seems to be struggling on his ultra soft tyres early on. Will probably be coming under pressure from Jamie in a matter of a few laps. But as they head through the final few corners to finish the end of lap 1, Nervo out in front with already a commanding lead, and he'll be looking good at the start of this race. But Alex has got to go after him and try and put some pressure on him as we come into turn 1 with N4 down into 3rd gear, and then using the short shift technique as we often see the drivers do, then uphill. And then there's no real way through here, as M4 actually has got much better run. Heads to the outside of Jamie into this corner. Can he go around the outside? It's a very audacious move. Lovely racing between the two of them. Leave each other space. Can't really work out what's happened from that camera, if M4's actually got the move done or not. They're still side by side by the looks of it. Jamie struggles for traction on the exit. And then out side by side, obviously no DRS, and they're quite far away from the cars behind, so they won't be getting much slipstream, but they're still side by side into the chicane. The McLaren of Ali K or Clarkey, don't know which one it is, tries to make it 3 wide, but it looks like M4's got the move done. Jamie's down to P5, and the McLaren remains in P6, but already a lot of battling happening early on in this race, and this is great news for Nervo out front.
Yeah, that's Clarkey, the first of the 2 McLarens. LK is right behind. And yeah, you can see the gap that Nervo's got there. That's probably at least 3 seconds at this phase in the race. Big Shot seeming to really not have the pace at the moment of the fellow driver who is on the Ultra Softs. And we saw Nervo's margin of about 4 tenths over Big Shot. in qualifying now being translated into the race, and it's actually much worse for Big Shot. He's quite slow at the moment and has already been passed by a super soft runner on lap 1. So not good news for Big Shot. It's good news for Alex, because he can now try and just mind his own race, as Big Shot, his tyres are only going to get worse from here, and he's going to start backing up Jamie and M. Thorne and Clarkey into the rest of the pack as we go on to lap 3. So I don't think there were any other big swaps in position apart from Ali K, now up to 7th place. I don't know where Essi's gone. I think he might have dropped behind a couple of places slightly. But now, as we are looking at Clarkey now going around the outside of Jamie. Jamie really seems to be struggling through turn 3. And that's giving the guys a run down into turn 5, and Jamie again having to cover off the inside line. As you can see how much Big Shot is struggling on the exit of the hairpin. Emthorn all over the back of him, and I think we're going to switch to that in just a couple of moments. You can see the effect it's having with the DRS that Emthorn has got. He's going to breeze straight past Big Shot, and Clarkey in the background as well going for a move on Jamie. Emthorn's already passed Big Shot as they head into turn 8. Clarkey is past Jamie as well, but obviously these guys are going to get a second bite of a DRS from the cars behind. And now Clarkey is going to be really under threat from Jamie as they head down towards turn 11. Jamie with the DRS now heading towards the outside towards turn 11. And is he going to be late enough on the brake? Yeah, he's late enough on the brakes to get back round the outside. And Jamie maintaining 5th place, but is really struggling for pace at the moment.
Yeah, you can just see the massive train that has formed because of that battling, all the way down to around about P11, I suspect, and Ferrari Rossi looking all over the back of Ali K as we head into this very difficult braking zone. Clarkey's outraged himself, gone straight on. He'll have to rejoin, but we'll have to try and do it safely. He's already let his teammate through. And then I think the Ferrari Rossi, oh no, there's contact between them. Oh god, there's cars being caught up. I think, is that the Mercedes, the Super Scrub? I don't really know. But it's gone from bad to worse for Clarkey after making that mistake. And now he's having to pit at the end of lap 3.
Yeah, he started on a super sauce as well. So that's going to be a wreck set of super softs for him. As we're now on board with Alex for the start of the race then. The 5 red lights were held for a very long time. Clearly not for Rossi though, as he gets to jump on all of them. And lifts off to make sure he doesn't gain an advantage from that. And Alex leaving room on the inside then, as we did. Well, that was a quick replay. So yeah, Alex left enough room on the inside for Jamie to get through, and they well, they're still in a race, so you can clearly see. And now Jamie going past Big Shot. Big Shot really has not got any pace at all on the super softs. They're clearly well and truly past their best for him, as Jamie overshoots the chicane and is going to cut across, doesn't rejoin into the path of these two, which is kind of sensible, and that's going to allow Ali K to get the run on Big Shot. And out of nowhere, Ali K's just gone up to 5th place. He's now trying to get 4th around the outside in towards turn 11, and he's already ahead by the braking point, and turns into the apex and confirms that he is now up into 4th place. And Jamie still trying to get past Big Shot once again then as we go through the last sector of the lap. And Jamie's going to struggle to find any way past into the Yas Hotel section. And I wonder when Big Shot's going to pit. The Ultra Softs we don't expect to last further than 6 laps, as you can see how much Big Shot is struggling. And well, I kind of expect Big Shot to pit at the end of this lap, frankly.
Yeah, the understeer is getting there. It's absolutely catastrophic. Jamie trying to go round the outside. Never seen that before. And Big Shot is forced to come into pits. I wonder if he's got damage, because that looked ridiculous. But we've now got RBLS, who started outside the top 10, made brilliant progress. And he'll be trying to hunt after Ali K, who's just ahead, because they are involved in a battle for 5th place, as well as Kian, who had a very poor qualifying session by his usual standard. So we'll have to keep a track of that as well. But Alex in P2, and he's doing very well at the start of this race. He's got a decent gap to the cars behind. He tends to struggle at the start of the races, but no such signs here today in Abu Dhabi, as we're now back with this battle for 5th. And Jamie does appear to be slightly struggling for pace at the start of this race, although RBS behind does have marginally fresher tyres, because he didn't do qualifying on that set as well with the DRS now. And surely he's just going to fly past. This is a rather easy overtake we've seen so far in this race. And heading into the braking zone, he's got the inside line, and that is the hash driver up into P5.
Yeah, he's up into 5th place from 12th on the grid, so he has had a very good first 4.5 laps of this race as we now head down towards turn 11. Once again, Jamie with the DRS, RBS covers at the inside. Will Jamie get back around the outside of turn 11? He's going to try it again, and we've seen him do it before, but no, he's run a bit too wide this time, and that means RBS is going to keep the position through turn 12 and 13 into 14. So now Big C's catching him back up as well, so he's having a good race himself, as we are now back with the race leader, who's beginning to fall into the clutches of Alex behind. We can probably expect him to come in within the next lap or two, and he does dive in to the pits right now. So what tyres is he going to go on to? Obviously the Ultra Softs, Super Softs and Softs available for this race, and well, we'll have to see which tyres he goes on to as he heads into his pit box. It's going to be the soft tyres to match the colour scheme of that car. And a good stop for the Renault team, as there was a fan waving there, very excited in the pit lane. And now underneath the tunnel section, where we don't usually see many crashes or two. Hopefully we don't get any this afternoon. That would probably be rather embarrassing. Nervo is going to come out then in a bit of traffic. Not too bad though, which is crucial for his race. And he's only got one car in front of him, and then I think he's got some fresh air. So this has worked out quite well for Nervo.
Yeah, I think once we get past the rest, there's a reasonable gap to Big C. We can just see through that camera shot that he'll have a lot of space to push into, because he'll need that. And with the DRS rest, he just basically lets him pass. No fight put up from the Ferrari driver there. And so that's the Renault drive up to P7. This has been giving Dan an opportunity as well. So he's going to surely fly past as well. Yes, he does. And takes the opportunity that Areti just gave him there. So that's a Force India driver up into P8. But more importantly, it's Nervo now with a lot of space to put in some good laps in. And that is almost the advantage of the two-stop strategy, is you've got fresher tyres throughout this race. And if you can get the lap times in, then it's probably a faster strategy, as we're now on board with Kian. So we're going to see what happened here further behind. So, oh my God. Well, I really don't know what has happened there. But a lot of drivers seem to get caught up. He almost needs to skip a couple of drivers ahead to properly catch what happened there. And this is Clarky. Oh my God. Just outbroke himself, went to the back of Jenny, got front wing damage, and then was forced to pit, and tried to rejoin as safely as possible. And then, just with the understeer there, it catches him out, arrests his clip, Super Scrub goes into the back of him, and he was forced to pit, tries to get out of the way of drivers, and doing so takes out the 15-metre brake board, which is not ideal. And they can just see, yeah, Clarky, it's a poor error of judgment from him. And unfortunately, that has compromised at least 3 drivers' race there.
Yeah, it's his own race, and Super Scrubs and Aresi's. But that's kind of the margin that Nervo had after that kind of accident that Aresi suffered. And the fact that Nervo had a pit stop in hand after 5 laps over that group of cars kind of says a lot about what's been happening at the start of this race. Is now on board with Big C, going against Jamie in towards turn 8, and locks up the front left quite a lot, just about gets it stopped. But that's going to give him a really compromised run on the exit of 9, and Jamie's actually going to get past before the DRS activation point, and he gets a free token of DRS anyway. So that's good news for Jamie. Big C trying to slip back in the slipstream, and doesn't go back up the inside into turn 11 as they go through this Mickey Mouse section through the chicane. So yeah, to give you guys a bit of an insight into what Alex needs to win this championship, if Alex is first, Nervo has to be in 4th for Alex to win the championship. They will be tied on points, but because Alex would have won this race and Nervo will be 4th, because they are tied, it goes to count back, and Alex would have won 8 races to Nervo 7. If Alex is 2nd, Nervo has to be 8th, and if Alex comes over the line in 3rd place, Nervo has to be in 10th. If Nervo is 9th and Alex is 3rd, it goes on count back, and because they've both got 7 wins apiece coming into this race, it will go to the amount of 2nd places that the drivers have got. And Nervo has got 2 more 2nd places than what Alex has got. So that's the way it is looking at the moment. Now on board with Big C then in 6th place on lap 8 of 28, who is right up on the gearbox of Jamie, with Nervo closing in behind.
We're just looking at Big C's tyre. He's at 52% right now. That's including qualifying, so he's not doing too badly. Looking maybe around about lap 10 to lap 12, and then they'll be going on to a set of softs to the end of the race. But it's not working out brilliantly for these guys. Nervo's already caught them, and he's now will be on much fresher tyres for the next few laps. And if he gets past them quickly, then it's not looking too good for these guys. And obviously that is bad news for Alex, because he needs some drivers to beat Nervo today. He can't do it all on his own after the events of Brazil. Now back to Theo, who is getting stuck now behind, well, I don't know if he's getting stuck, but he's behind Aresi and Dan as they head in towards turn 11. And Aresi, obviously, after that incident, really maybe struggling for pace with damage or something, but Theo goes up the inside, gets that move done lovely, nicely on the brakes. And Aresi didn't put up a lot of fight, it must be said, but Dan and Theo up into 8th and 9th. But they seem, both of these seem to be struggling, even though I think they're the highest soft runners. It's not working out too brilliantly for them at the start of this race.
Yeah, and obviously these two, Dan and Theo, in a squabble of their own in the championship for 11th place. As well, they are only separated by 2 points. So at the moment, that's looking good for Dan to maintain that position ahead of Theo. But as we now head back to the battle for 5th, 6th and 7th, Nervo's right up on the gearbox of Big C. Having a look into turn 1 is Nervo, and he's already dived up the inside. Big C's actually banged wheels with him and had to go off the track. And that's kind of the ruthlessness that Nervo we've seen from Nervo all season long. And he's showing no signs of giving up so far in this race. He knows he's got to make these passes very, very quickly indeed, and he is wasting no time at all getting past Big C, and is now right onto the back of Jamie as we exit turn 7.
God, he is. I mean, I know he's in a championship fight, but he doesn't seem to really have much fear heading to this race, just charged up the inside of Big C. I mean, the contact model is very, well, weird in this game, it has to be said, and that could have resulted in an incident, but nevertheless, Nervo up into P5 now. He's making light work of this traffic. He's driving, well, brilliantly, it has to be said, up into P5, and has now got more fresh air to push into until he catches RBS. Just have to make sure he defends from Jamie here, who will obviously get the DRS into turn 11, but Nervo with that inside line, fresher tyres, and holds on to that position. So yeah, it is working out really well for Nervo. Obviously, once these guys pit just ahead, then they will get some sort of undercut, because they're all in sort of trains and packs, and they'll be battling each other. It's now cut back to Theo, who is now getting past Dan. He got past Aresi just a lap ago, and he's now up into P8, and will still be finishing behind Dan if it stays like this in terms of the battle for P11. Also worth pointing out that RBS has caught up to Ali K in that battle for 5th in the standings, as we've now cut to the Manor driver heading through the final few corners, and these three seemingly can't be separated, and it's simply because of how, well, almost overpowered the DRS and slipstream is on this game, as Aresi dives into the pit lane, and it's not been a great start to this race for the Ferrari driver.
No, it's not what he needs in his battle against Emthorn for 3rd in the standings as well. Lots of battles in the Drivers' Championship yet to be resolved, and definitely a battle yet to be resolved in Alex and Super Scrubs. This guy decides he's going to have a battle of his own with the
I thought that was fun.
Yeah, with the championship protagonist, and Super Scrub not doing Alex a lot of favours at the moment, just, if anything, just wasting Alex's time, and Alex will not be best pleased with that at all. And Super Scrub's obviously trying to unmap himself to try and get some hope of her points today, as he is stoned at last, and Alex actually really put off by that, and it's gone wide into turn 11. So Alex can't afford too many mistakes, and Dan can't afford to go bumping over those curbs as he just did on the exit of turn 9. So down the second DRS zone we go in towards turn 11, on board with Theo, and he spots the braking point nice and easy. Now cutting to RBS, and as Dan had just mentioned, the battle for 3rd on track, the battle for 5th with these two, and Kian, who is sadly nowhere near the points at the moment, down in 12th place. Yeah, they're all in a battle for 5th in the Drivers' Championship, and now looking back at Super Scrub in at 19th place, still onto the back of Alex, so he's got some good pace at the moment. But yeah, I don't think Alex really wants him to be that close to him at the moment, I don't think.
Yeah, it's a really awkward situation for Alex, because he's at the end of his stint, so he won't be that fast at all, and Super Scrub on fresh tyres will probably be a fair bit faster, but it's a bit unfair on Alex to have to battle almost someone a lap down, but if Super Scrub can just get passed by DRS and then pull away from Alex, I don't think people have had too many complaints. But heading through the hairpin, and this is a weird situation for Alex. I wonder what he's feeling right now, because the championship is not in his destiny after Brazil. It looked to be like it would be after Mexico, but it's not anymore, and he is doing everything he can. He's driving one of the best races I've seen so far this season. Both of the championship rivals have really turned it up here in Abu Dhabi, because Alex is driving away from Thorn, which we haven't seen a lot through this season. And now Super Scrub will get the DRS. He's going to go and pass the Red Bull driver. Alex feeling the need to defend or just letting him through. Yes, he's just letting him through. Probably a wise idea. And Super Scrub then outbrakes himself. Oh, this must be so irritating. Then cuts the chicane. Okay, right, okay. This is a bit interesting now. I think Super Scrub's just got to go and push on, because he will be able to pull away from Alex and just stop annoying Alex, because he's got to focus on tyre management and making sure that he's doing the best he can in order to win this race. Now back to M4, and look at that. Nervo is all over the back of this battle for P3, and they are not too far behind. What is that, 5-6 seconds behind Alex, who's currently leading this race as Alex pits.
Yeah, he's probably come into the pits to try and get away and get out of Super Scrub's business, because Super Scrub is just a massive distraction at this point, and Alex doesn't need that, quite frankly. So Alex is the first of the one-stoppers to come in for a pit stop. And it's quite interesting to see that he is, because usually he's not shy to go quite far into the race, and obviously he's won a Grand Prix from doing that in Monza in Italy, well, 6 odd races ago now, as we head through into turn the hairpin once again, and Nervo's up the inside of RBS, no room given on the exit, and that's Nervo up into 3rd place. And RBS has kind of had no reply to that, and won't have DRS down the back straight either. So down into the chicane once again, and Nervo up into 2nd place now. Parks it on the apex. Ali really has to brake to avoid him there, and Nervo's going to have better traction on those much fresher tyres. You can see the effect of it, and just romps away on the exit. And you know what, Nervo is looking very fast at this stage in the race. He's already almost caught back up to Thorn. So Nervo very soon is going to have, well, he's virtually got a pit stop on all of these guys at the moment.
Yeah, it's really well played from Nervo. I know. Oh my god, I was going to talk about the championship battle, but there seems to be something massive kicking off here. So Alex has come out of the pit lane just ahead of Theo and Dan, and Big Shot's still behind this train of cars. So yeah, I was just going to talk about Nervo's move, but yeah, it's all kicking off back here. So Big Shot's really not worked out, because he's emerged behind Alex and has had like a 7-lap undercut as Nervo just goes around the outside, putting up very little defence, and now chooses going to pit lane. But yeah, I was going to say Nervo, very well played on that back straight, because with RUS getting the DRS off at Ali K, it's going to be very difficult for Nervo to find a way past. So by overtaking at the hairpin and then getting the DRS on Ali K, who obviously didn't have it, he was able to get those moves both done in the space of almost one straight, as the Hash driver comes into the pit lane for presumably the final time in Season 12 and puts on a set of soft tyres, as Alex will emerge, I think, quite a way ahead, because the undercut will have been very powerful. And so Alex emerges out in P4, Ali K choosing to carry on, as well as RBOS. So these drivers seemingly feeling like they've still got enough grip in their super sauce. But I think they'll be losing a lot of time to the Red Bull and Hash driver of Alex and Thorn, as now RBOS with the slipstream, he heads towards the outside. Ali K defending that inside line, parks it nicely on the apex, and then it'd be interesting to see who gets a better exit here, because obviously as it comes towards this latter part of the stint, the fact that RBOS has had fresh tyres at the start of this race will pay massive dividends for him, because he'll head to the outside now, heading in towards turn 11. Ali K once again has got the inside line. RBOS, can he hold it around the outside? No, he can't. Tucked it back in, and they maintain position for the time being. But all that battling is doing is allowing the people who got their undercut to get an even bigger advantage.
Yeah, these two not really helping themselves. RBOS trying to go around the outside through this triple right-hander, which is not going to work out at all well for him. And yeah, these guys are really costing themselves an awful lot of time here, as RBOS is getting dangerously close to puncture territory with that kind of tyre wear. So you've got to imagine he's going to be coming in at the end of this lap. And Ali K dives off into the pits, and RBOS, interestingly, stayed out another lap. I can't imagine why you want to do that, as I have no doubt in my mind that these softs will last another 15 laps, considering he's done 13 on those set of super softs. As
judging by Alex's lap, the undercut is going to be massive.
Alex has got a good pace at the moment on those tyres, and especially if he's going quickest of the whole race so far. So the softs aren't too bad of a tyre at the moment, and Nervo's got that experience as well, because he's on them at the moment. So I've got to imagine Nervo would put on a set of super softs for the end of the race as well. Sadly, Jamie's left the session as well. Hopefully he can get back in before the end of this race. Now looking once again at the battle with Theo, Dan and Aresi. Sorry, that's Big Shot in 6th place. And Thorn is right at the back of this queue. So that's not worked out at all well for the Haas.
No, definitely not. He's going to get stuck behind these guys who are on very old super softs, and not super softs, soft tyres right now, and won't be able to get good use of his undercut. And trying to work out, he's actually ahead of Ali, which I'm quite surprised by. But he's going to have to get these moves done very quickly. But they've all got DRS on each other, which makes it incredibly difficult. Heading towards the outside of turn 11, he's trying to go around the outside of Big Shot, getting stuck behind the Force Indian down. That's a lovely move by Thorn. Holds it round the outside, and bravo, that is a brilliant move, and gets a half drive up into P6. But now he's got to find a way past the Manor and Force India. But he's lost a lot of time to Alex in this whole sequence. Yeah, Alex will be probably about 5 seconds up the road as Theo's gone wandering off the track at that left right-hander. So now into the last couple of corners of the lap. Theo looks like he's really beginning to struggle on that set of soft tyres. And these guys on the new sets of softs are really fast at the moment. The softs are not a bad compound while they're fresh. And M-Thorn's got much better traction out of the last corner. That's how much these guys are struggling. And I think Dan's just lifted off and let Thorn through there, as it's probably going to end up in an accident soon enough as they go through turn 2. Thorn right up on the gearbox of Theo and has to get out of it so he doesn't run into the back of him through turn 3. He's going to have the inside line for turn 4. Dives up the inside on the brakes, inside for 5, and he's got that position, but won't have DRS down the back straight. It depends how much traction Theo gets on those really old soft tyres as to whether or not he can challenge Thorn back down into towards turn 8. Theo really looks like he's struggling now on those tyres, and Dan's going to have the DRS and slipstream benefit, and Theo tries to squeeze him towards the inside. Big Shot's trying to get a look in as well, backs out of it on the brakes, Dan up the inside in towards turn 8. They're still side by side, Theo and Dan, and who's going to be on top on the exit? Theo is. Dan's lost out hugely in this. Big Shot's gone around the outside of the pair of them, and now Big Shot, well, trying still side by side with Theo, and he's actually got the position well before the braking zone, covers off the inside, and the battle resumes between Theo and Dan. Yeah, it never seems to stop, and the car is separated in the driver's standings, and the car's separated out on track here today, as we've now got a replay of Clark here, and he's all the way down in P17, obviously after his earlier incident. So, okay, that's quite terrifying, not gonna lie. Numa suffering from quite extreme lag, and Clarky's race goes from bad to worse. Not the ideal way to finish off your season, and actually retires. I don't blame him, to be honest, after that number of incidents that he's encountered during this race. Some his fault, some not, as it appears that Dan's diving into the pit lane because he's no longer behind Theo, and I'd be very surprised if he lost that much time, because now we've got Big C and Ali K all over the back, and Big C, it must have pitted earlier than Ali and RBOS, because he's emerged right between these guys. He tries to go around the outside of Ali K, no way around the outside of there. He's very lucky to avoid any front wing damage, but now Ali is trying to find a way past Theo, and will surely get that with the DRS down the back straight and slipstream. And be interested to see what Big C makes of all this. Could he make it 3 wide? But nevertheless, Ali will have the inside line. Big C's getting on both of them, tries to find a way past Theo, which he should be able to do. Oh my god, slight contact between the Manor and the Williams, but now surely Big C will get a much better exit. Indeed he does, and will then fly past the Williams drive, the Manor driver, sorry. and that is Big C up into P7 for the time being. But yeah, a lot of action here as the drivers who are obviously on the one stop are much slower, especially those who started on the soft tyre.
Meanwhile, this man out in front, absolutely commanding this race at will at the moment. Alex in second place is 10.7 seconds behind, as we can see in the top left. And now, as we go through the last corner, let's see if that gap updates, if it gets any bigger or smaller. And I think it stayed the same there. Yeah, still 10.7. So Alex not going quite as fast as what he was at the start of the stint compared to Nervo. Nervo's still got very good pace, and the safety car, virtual safety car, has been deployed. And Big C's come in, which is quite interesting. Theo obviously had to come in because he's not made a pit stop yet. And he won't lose as much by making this pit stop. I'm a bit surprised Big C's come in this early on, but obviously he can stick on a new set of super softs and get to the end just about. So might not be a bad call. Big Shot's done the same thing as well. Theo obviously had to make a pit stop at some point during this race and now has done that. So that's not going to work out in his well, it's not going to work out for Dan in their own battle, because I'm pretty sure Dan pitted to get out of the way and get some clean air, and that's not been very good for Dan. But now, as the virtual safety car ends, as we go down into turn 8, we're back on the green flag racing here in Abu Dhabi, and it kind of depends where everyone is in terms of the momentum that they get. They either gain or lose to everyone else. And now back with Nervo as we go into the last sector of the lap, still dominating this race as it is at the moment. But obviously he has got a pit stop to make, so it's still all to play for. But it might just be on track battle between Nervo and Alex to see who can win this race, because I don't think anyone else is in touch at the moment.
Yeah, Alex needs some massive slice of luck. What he needs was that virtual safety car to be a proper safety car.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, he's looking desperate for him right now. I think once Nervo makes his final pit stop, which could be to a set of supers or ultras, depending on how his tyre wear is right now, then he will catch back up to Alex with no problem. But look how far behind these drivers are for Alex. They've just not been able to keep up with him. These two have both had exceptional pace today. It is worth pointing out. They've both turned up and clearly shown why these are the championship contenders. But yeah, it's a Big C with that extra pit stop. You can see how much Dan's lost out in that. Well behind Theo now. So, and then there's Jamie, who was unfortunately disconnected and is unable to rejoin. And then Keane, who I think got involved in that lap 1 collision. Their GR Demon number, and I think Jonas as well. So it obviously compromised a lot of these drivers' races who were forced to either make a pit stop on lap 1 or lost a lot of time. But back to the front, and Nervo out in front. It is looking good for the Renault driver. If only every race so far this season had been this simple for him, then this championship could have been wrapped up a long time ago. But well, we're still yet to know who is going to win this championship. But at the moment, it is look like it's going to become Jim Nervo to be the season 12 champion.
Yeah, and Nervo's trying to go for his 3rd AOR championship. He got his first on F1 2013 in Season 7 and another in Season 9 on F1 2014. So he is looking to become the 4th driver in the whole history of AOR to be a triple world champion. And, well, he's only got 10 more laps to do before he tries to complete that feat. And at the moment, it's not looking good for Alex as we head on to lap 19. Here we go on board with Alex, who's gunning for his first AOR title, and not warnings. And got to be careful not to do that. Obviously, Alex has been renowned. That's what brought him the victory in Mexico, getting well, not that many warnings. And he's got 2 wins from not getting as many corner cutting penalties as Nervo in Mexico and back in Baku. And Nervo's lost quite a few wins. He's lost at least 4 wins this season from corner cutting penalties. So what could have been for Nervo, as Dan has said, he could have had that championship locked up, and yeah, he would have had that probably at least in Brazil or Mexico had he not thrown away those wins. But to me, it just looks like Nervo and Alex are just in a class of one. They've just got their own pace. It's like they're in a different formula.
Yeah, and obviously it's worth pointing out that some of the drivers may not be able to do as much practice, or, you know, it doesn't mean as much to the other drivers heading into this final race, and that could affect how much practice they've done. But obviously for Nervo and Alex, it's a final race, and they had to put in as much as possible. But back to P7, and Big Shot has caught Aresi here, so I don't really know what's happened to Aresi throughout this race. Obviously on that one very compromised one stop, as Big Shot, who pitted under the virtual safety car, now finds a way past his teammate back up into P6. Obviously on the super soft compounds, that virtual safety car worked out quite well for him, pretty much saved his race, because after his appalling first stint, he was looking not in a great state, but nevertheless it will be looking to gain some decent points. And I think he's one of the very few drivers that isn't involved in some sort of championship battle heading into this final race, and I think he's pretty safe in either P7 or P8, but nevertheless Big Shot will be looking to cement P6 and maybe try and catch Ali and RBOS ahead, who will be on that soft compound time.
Yep, as Nervo's coming in then for another set of super softs. So now, as that fan, once again, very happy in the pit lane as we head down in towards the tunnel. He's not going to come out in the lead, but he will surely be in second place as Thorn, as you can just see there in the back of shot going through turn 1. Nervo is going to rejoin in second place, which is pretty much all he needs to win this championship. But he can see his main rival going through the hairpin there, and he will be gunning for that victory. And, well, there's no other way to win the championship than in style, if you're Nervo, or if you're Alex, in fact. They've both won 7 races so far this season, and have both been on the podium 13 times, which is obviously the most of anyone. So you can see why they ended up fighting for the championship, separated by 13 points in the standings at the moment coming into this race. And, well, we've got 8 laps to go then at the end of this one. And, well, Nervo, with the extra grip that he's going to have much more pace than Alex, as Alex, obviously the first of the one-stoppers to pit as well, going to really start struggling towards the end of this race. So you have to say it's just going to look toward, it's looking more and more as if it's going to go in Nervo's favour.
Yep, there's still 8 laps left to go though, and anything could still happen. Alex has got to try something.
Yeah.
Surely he's got to try and do something. We saw, I remember back to Hamilton back in the real life 2016 Grand Prix, as we come back to a battle for P12 between Demon and Kian, as the Force India driver is up the inside of the Renault and makes that move stick up for P12. And this is very much just for pride for these drivers at the end of this race, just trying to have some fun as the sunset falls on this season, as Kian will get the DRS into turn 11, but it doesn't look to be close enough to the Force India driver, and will have to stay into P13. But yeah, Alex has got to try something. As I said, Hamilton, I can remember him backing up Rosberg, and then Vettel and Verstappen and Ricciardo all got involved in that battle. Don't know if he can do the same here today, because we've known Nervo, he's quite aggressive and will probably just go for some sort of ambitious move, but he's got to try and do something. But yeah, nevertheless, Nervo is looking in a very strong position, barring any sort of safety car or anything in these final few laps. I think that's what I really want now, something just to provide some great action for the final few laps of this race. But Keane still very close to the back of the Force India around the final corner. They start lap 21, and well, Keane hasn't been able to provide any backup to his teammate today, but it's not like he's needed it, as he's looking in a very strong position. Keane running wide, and at the moment he's losing out in that battle for 5th in the driver's standings, and it looks like that's going to go the way of Ali K, with RBOS currently looking in a strong position to finish 6th, which is a very commendable effort after not having a great first half of the season. And as I speak to that, let's go back to this battle as RBOS, who pitted at least a lap later than Ali Kane, quite a few laps later than other drivers around him, has now caught back up to the McLaren driver, and obviously with those fresher tyres he'll be looking good towards the end of this race.
Yeah, he's not that far behind his teammate as well, if you look at look on the minimap on the bottom left as well. So maybe a podium might be in within reach of RBOS. It's quite a tough shout. But yeah, as Nervo just sets the fastest lap to confirm that he's gunning for the race win and trying to win in style. Yeah, so these two battling for 5th in the Drivers' Championship. One of these two are definitely going to move, well, if not both of these two are going to head a move of Kian at this rate down in 13th. He's, as Dan said, not been able to transmit any of the pace that he's had in other races this season. Renault, the Constructors' Champions, obviously only had one front row start together back in Russia in round 4 as we cut to Alex, the race leader of this race, and he can see his main rival in the mirrors getting ever closer, and he will know that when Nervo comes, because it's a bright car that Nervo's in, and you can hardly exactly miss it. So as we head down the second DRS zone, I don't think Nervo's going to be quite close enough to go for a lunge at the end of this. No, he's not going to be anywhere near close enough for a lunge at this back straight. We know Nervo's good on the brakes, but I don't think he's that good to come from 300 metres back. Anyway, Alex taking it very easy, and yeah, I think he is trying to back him up into the back, so you were right there. But I think Nervo's going to find a way past very soon. Alex is going to have to do something really special if he wants to back Nervo up into the pack.
I've got to commend Alex. He's trying something. I like this. He's doing something. I've got to admire this. Oh my god, this is almost insane. Okay, and now he's just let Nervo through. His ambitious plan has gone wrong within one sector. But he's tried something. Fair play to him. He couldn't do a lot else. But yeah, he had to try something. And it just didn't work out. Just due to the difference in grip that they had. And so Nervo now into the lead of his race. And well, it's all in his own hands now. As long as he doesn't make any more mistakes, then he should be Season 12 champion. But yet, as we've seen, RBOS is still catching up to Ali K, trying to work out whether he's in DRS range. If he's not, then it's definitely very close as they head downhill once again towards the sector split. And it looks very close, and that the hash drive is definitely within DRS range. But Big Shot behind is also getting quite close to this battle, so it could make it very intriguing towards the end of this race. But as they go towards the DRS activation point, and indeed the hash driver opens up his rear wing, but won't be anywhere near close enough, heading down into this braking zone, but will surely maybe have an opportunity at the end of the next straight if he gets a good exit. It's reasonably close, but it's going to be difficult to find a way past. You almost have to be a lot closer than that to find a way past in towards turn 11, as Ali looks to defend the inside line. In fact, he doesn't even have to. Is so far ahead. But yeah, this could be an interesting battle to watch in the final few laps, because I think this is the battle for 5th in the driver's standings right here. Yeah, Ali's only 2 points ahead at the moment in the Drivers' Championship, ahead of RBOS. So it's quite a big deal, this battle at the moment. So I think whoever comes out on top in this battle will come out on top in the championship as well. So it's a battle for the Drivers' Championship we've got here waiting with us, and Big Shot in the background just sliding that back end. He's a factor in this battle as well, as he's on those super softs, a much faster tyre and a much quicker tyre as well, much fresher tyre, sorry, as well. As we go over the line, gaps down to 2 seconds behind. So yeah, Big Shot's also within a shout of this race, well, this battle as well. And I wonder if these guys are catching up to M-Thorn, because if they are, then M-Thorn really is not got that strong a pace, and Superscope has decided to leave the session as well, so Alex doesn't have to worry about him anymore for the remainder of this race. So 5 laps remain of this season, the longest season we've ever had in AOR and indeed Formula 1 history, as we head down the back straight once again. And RBOS does not seem to have that great straight line speed compared to Ali, at least. And as we head down into the braking zone of turn 8 once again, a little lock up for RBOS that time around into the chicane, and struggles for traction slightly on the exit. Obviously, as we go deeper and deeper into the race, it's going to come more towards RBOS with the 1 lap fresher tyres that he has got, especially compared to his teammate, who's got 2 lap fresher tyres than him as well. So, yeah, these guys, these 4 guys could be within a battle for the podium with a couple of laps remaining. Yeah, also Ford in the battle for 3rd in the standings is currently beating Arrested by quite a comfortable margin, so should be able to overturn that deficit that he currently has, and so that'd be quite a good achievement for him, as Jake has retired from the session as well. But now back with Alex, and this is his antics. So look at this, just coming into this corner, just brakes, takes the inside line, no eagerness to get on the throttle at all. I don't think he's tyre saving there. As look at the apex, he clunks that apex, almost went spinning, just defends the inside line, parks it, no eagerness to get on the throttle, once again on the inside line, down to 2nd gear, And this would have actually cost him about 3 seconds at least in doing it. So if he did able to maintain it for a couple of laps, then there was a small opportunity for the cars behind to catch up. But nevertheless, Nervo was able to get through just on the traction, and Alex's plan failed spectacularly almost. But I have to commend him for trying. But now RBOS is very close to Ali K, but once again isn't able to get close enough to make a move into the braking zone. So he's got to try and get invented somewhere else round this track to try and find a way past. As I say that, he's a lot closer on the exit of that corner. Well, surely now with the DRS, but Ali K defends the inside line, and RBOS just can't find a way through here.
Yeah, like on the brakes is RBOS. We know RBOS is not afraid to go for a dive bomb or two, as we've seen many times throughout the season as well. He loves that little touch of the brake pedal. And, well, as we now have another replay of, this is a couple of laps ago, Big C within the slipstream of Aresi on that set of super soft tyres, and late on the brakes into turn 11. What's going to happen here is they go through 12 and 13 and up the inside into 14. That's a good move from Big C, and caught Aresi napping, squeezes Aresi off the track, and that is Big C with a great move up into 7th place, and RBOS well up the gearbox of Ali K now, and it's game on for this battle for 5th.
Yeah, it's not really worked out too well for Big C. Obviously a great move, but not really worked out too well for him trying to put under that virtual safety car, because I think he was right behind this battle, and with obviously the DRS and slipstream, he'd probably been easily able to keep up with them as they head through the hairpin. And RBOS is running out of laps right now and needs to find a way past pretty quickly, but they are catching up to N4. Definitely, that gap has definitely reduced within the last couple of laps. But RBOS in the Haas, he's got the slipstream, he's got the DRS, but seemingly isn't able to make an impression on the McLaren of Ali K. Now, it is worth bearing in mind that there is a possibility of the slipstream glitch, which is quite late to get into with only 2 laps left in this season, but that is an unfortunate thing that can happen in online lobbies when a certain person leaves, and will mean that the Haas driver won't be getting any slipstream off the back of that McLaren, which is obviously quite a big factor in this game. So if he doesn't get that, then it kind of negates most of the advantages that you usually get being so close to a driver just behind. But nevertheless, RBOS is still very close to the back of that McLaren, and they are both catching up to the other Haas driver.
Yeah, I think Big Shot's out of it now as he's beginning to drop back on those very worn super softs. So, as we go on to the penultimate lap then, or we will do with these two in a couple of moments as we go through the second to last corner, now heading into the last corner, on to the penultimate lap of this season, and RBOS with an awful lot of grip in the last sector compared to Ali K. And this is going to get personal between these two. At the moment, it's 2 points covering these two in the standings. 2 points if RBOS actually gets the position. But it all depends on what Mthorn does as well. And Mthorn's in his own battle with Aresi in the standings as well. So I don't think Mthorn's going to help RBOS in any way at all. As these two also in the battle for the second place in the Constructors title, so they want as many points as well as they can get, and I think they are going to beat Red Bull, as they've both got 2 cars in the top 5, and Alex, the sole Red Bull, in second place at the moment, not outscoring Haas at the moment. So as we head down into turn 8 once again, Ali K still maintaining that 4th place brilliantly well as we go on the exit. Now down the back straight, Ali knows that RBOS is closer as he's ever been so far in this race, and Ali is going to go back to the outside. RBOS lunges up the inside, and there's contact, a lot of contact. RBOS went for the lunge, as we've seen him do so many times this season, and it hasn't paid off this time around. But that's just a polite little message to Ali K to say, I will go for it if you present me with an opportunity, as we head on to the final lap of the Grand Prix. And, well, it looks like it's definitely going to be Nervo to win this championship.
Yeah, barring any extreme circumstances, the Renault driver looks to be claiming this Season 12 championship. And on balance, maybe he has deserved it. He's definitely had the pace of the drivers. And, yeah, I have to give props to him. He's won a lot of races this season. So has Alex. They've both got very different qualities and both very good drivers. But it does appear that the Renault driver will be Constructors and Drivers' Champion. Alex, it's been a very valiant effort from him this season. Back in Mexico, I thought he was going to win this championship. I thought the stars were aligning for the Red Bull driver, but my interruption, the RBS simply wanted to interrupt me about my championship talk because he wants to find a way past Ali K in the battle for 5th in the standings. But nevertheless, we will go along with RBS's plan as we head now downhill and just trying to spot the braking point. Oh my god, RBOS just losing the car under braking. And now with a great exit, Ali K's tyres seemingly dead. Them not being able to catch up to M4, which I'm quite surprised by because they seem to catch up at a right rate of not a couple of laps ago. But nevertheless, into turn 11, RBOS with the outside line. Can he hang it round the outside of there? Surely not. Ali K clunks the curb. It works out to his advantage though because he flies across the track, blocking RBOS's run, and will surely hold on to P4 in this final sector around the final few corners, and is giving Jim Dervotank to take the Season 12 championship.
Here he comes and into the last corner. He is going to become the first AOR triple champion on the PlayStation side, and only the 4th triple AOR champion in history. And, well, he did the job he needed to, and so did Alex, to be fair to him. He has been fantastic all season long, and coming across the line in 2nd. He's going to wrap up 2nd place in the driver's standings, and RBOS has run out of fuel over the line as well. So
big shot.
Oh yeah, big shots run out of fuel as well. You'd think these guys after so many races would learn that they need fuel to get over the line, but apparently not. And Big C is going to come across the line in 6th place. He's had a very strong end to the season, so he'll be very happy with 6th place. Okay. Yeah, the Ferrari seeming that they want to mate over the line as well. Theo coming over the line in 9th place there as well. And Dan coming into the last corner on his own, where he's been quite a lot for so far this season. Across the line in 10th place. We'll have to see where he ended up in his battle with Theo and which driver come out on top. And then we've got the non-point scorers, Number in 11th and Kian trying to go for a... I think Kian's actually run out of fuel as well into the last corner. Yeah, he has. So quite a few people running out of fuel on the last race of the season. GR Dimon having a battle with Jonas, I think, into the 2nd to last corner, and is going to get P13, 3rd to last. But nevertheless, it's well, at least he had the chance to finish with a battle, and I think we're going to see the start of that battle now. So GR Demon, with the great run on the ultra soft tyres, out at turn 3, gets the outside for turn 5 and pulls off quite a nice move around the outside of turn 5 into 6th there. And this is a lap later, and Jonas got back ahead of him, leaves space on the exit at turn 6 and into turn 7, and Demon on the inside, probably going to get better traction on the exit. Yes, he does. Jonas tucks into the slipstream down the back straight, and he's got the DRS as well, because he was obviously behind going into the hairpin, and Jonas is going to struggle on the brakes to get around the outside. Actually, Giardiman's gone quite wide into the corner, so Jonas is going to try and set himself for a better run, especially Giardiman actually put himself on the curb, and Jonas going to get the DRS now back down in towards turn 11. And Giardiman going for the inside line, defending. Jonas has no option but to go to the outside. Later on the brakes than the Force India as well, but overshoots it, and Giardiman coming back around the outside. And, well, at least these guys might not have scored points in the final race of the season, but at least they've had a brilliant battle to end it. And Giardiman, I think, lets him through there as well. So, I don't know why he's done that, but he's going to now back on board. We switch with Giardiman. And what a shame this isn't a battle we had up front, but yeah, Jonas now defending for all he's worth against GR Demon as they go into the 2nd to last corner, and I think this is where, yeah, GR Demon just driving clean around the outside of Jonas, and Jonas getting a warning to end his season as well. So at least these guys had fun coming over the line and smashing it as well, as we now see another replay.
My favourite point of the race once again.
Yeah, another replay of this. And we're seeing this 3 times now.
Yeah.
You have to give Alex props for at least trying. He's done all he can this season and did a great job to put himself in the position to win the championship. But Nervo, playing it sensibly, just waiting for the opportunity. And yeah, Alex too slow on the apex that time around, and Alex just not quick enough on the exit, and Nerva just drives clean around the outside.
Yeah, Alex have made very little mistakes throughout this season, and unfortunately will not be Season 12 champion.
So Nerva wins the race, and in a very dominant way. Just had the class of this field, and no one else could get anywhere near him during the race. Almost 10 seconds ahead of his nearest challenger in Alex, and M Thorn as well coming over the line in third place. Ali K beats RBS in the battle for third in the standings and fourth in the race, and RBS actually had a penalty as well, so Ali was always going to beat him on that. Big C in 6th place, another strong result to end his season, and Aresi recovering to get over the line in 7th. Theo is in 8th place, big shot with an awful lot of penalties, ending up in 9th place, and Dan rounding out the points paying positions. Kian missing out on a point in 11th. Then it's Nummer, Demon, Jonas and Gemini95 who disconnected. Then the list of the DNFers in Jake, Super Scrub, NBA Ruben and Clarky. And this is what it means for the Drivers' Championship then. Nervo, it doesn't do justice, that gap between Nervo and Alex throughout that season. It was much closer than what it actually appears in the end. Thorn gets that place over Aresi for third in the Drivers' Championship, and Ali and RBS both move ahead of Kian as well. Big C moves ahead of Clarky for 9th in the standings. Theo jumps ahead of Dan in the end and beating him by just 1 point. Then it's the Simplate, who hasn't showed up since Belgium. That's some long time ago. Then it's GR Demon, NBA Ruben, Jonas, B Colt, Mayhem Madness, BB and Nama and Jake, who rounds off the point paying positions.
So as we said earlier, Nervo is Drivers and Constructors Championship. Renault obviously wrapped that up in Mexico. They had a 135 point advantage over Haas after Abu Dhabi, with Red Bull coming home in P3 only 2 points behind the Haas team. Ferrari were 4th with McLaren 5th and Force India 6th. Those positions pretty much stayed the same for the majority of the second half of the season. Williams managed to beat Manor in the end, finish on 96 points, with Manor coming home in 90. Sauber were 9th with 66, Mercedes 10th with 58, and Toro Rosso last with 3 points.
And so for the final time this season, it is interview time, and today we will be speaking with our newly crowned triple AOR champion and the runner-up. Starting off with Nervo, then congratulations obviously on the win and your title. How does it feel to finally be a triple AOR champion?
Oh, thank you so much. I'm so happy right now because I felt a lot of pressure towards the final race, and I wanted to win yes or yes to get the AOR title. So I'm just so proud of my strategy, of my race pace, of all together came perfect this race, so I could get my last title. So I hope for next season to repeat it, because I was so convinced that I could get my race pace, my better race pace for this one, and I done it. It was quite hard, but I finally got it.
You and Alex were running close for a little bit on the track. Were you worried at all that he would try backing you up or get desperate?
Well, he did. I mean, when I stopped on lap 5 and I had to get to Alex, it was around lap 20 when it happened. He was waiting me. So I just tried to go slow to try to get the best apex and the best moment to overtake him, because I know he was on worse tires than me. I was on fresh super softs and he was on the softs. He was on a 1-stop and I was on a 2-stop. So what I did was to prepare the overtake with no risks, because I want to risk sometimes with the overtaking, but this time I wanted not to risk because I was fighting for the title. So I did this overtake and automatically I got away from Alex. So I advantaged him on 9 seconds at the final race. So yeah, it was that. But yeah, I thought he was trying to get me, but with 8 laps left, it would be impossible for him. So he had no chance.
Looking back over the season, what were the highs and the lows for you in such a close championship?
Well, this is a easy question, I guess. strategy, time penalties, splitting under safety car, luck starts at the start of the season, not attending to Canada, disconnecting from Austria, if I don't remind good. And yeah, that was ups and lows, because if I have to focus on ups, I would say that that was my race pace during or showed during the whole season. But because of strategies and all that I said before, I couldn't grab the title before taking all the process. So yeah, I had to wait to the final two races with the pressure on it to win the title, and that's not what I wanted when I start the season. And I knew that it would be a hard season because the grid was so fast, but I was confident myself, and I thought after Monaco with 57 points ahead Alex, I could get the advantage, but I didn't. So yeah, I kept bottling every time, and with two final races, I was already 12 points, I guess. So yeah, I had to maintain this to win the title. Yeah, so yeah, it was very hard, but at least I got it.
Alright, thank you very much indeed for joining me. Now over to the runner-up, it is Alex. Commiserations obviously on your title fight. You seemingly tried everything today with the alternate strategy and trying to back up Nervo into the pack in the final sector of the race. Was it simply a case of not having enough help from the others?
Thanks for the commiserations, but yeah, I'm pretty devastated. I did everything I could. Obviously, qualifying was really good. Qualifying P3 on a super soft and overtaking Big Shot already in the fifth corner. The race went really well, but my soft stint wasn't as good as in practice, and Nervo just sliced himself through the field, which was a surprise for me. And also a surprise for me was how much faster me and Nervo were than everyone else. I mean, usually the field is very competitive, close together, but this time it seemed Nervo and myself had half a second per lap on the field, which was very unfortunate because Nervo rejoined quite high up the field after his ultra stint, and he did the overtakes fast. So yeah, as of backing up, when he arrived behind me, I knew it was over. But yeah, I just tried to back him up. I hoped he had penalties and maybe it would stop his charge. But I think on this point, Thorn was, I don't know, 12 seconds behind. So it was more an act of desperation as a planned attempt. Also, it was very bad that my teammate didn't race for me because obviously if he would have raced and he would have come out ahead of Nervo after Nervo's pit stop, he would have backed Nervo up as well. So yeah, it just wasn't my day in terms of folding everything together. But yeah, then I was a little bit on older softs and Nervo was a new super soft and I lost a little bit the rear. And at the end of sector 3, under the hotel, and he overtook me, and then I knew the season was over. I just cruised it home and finished P2.
Your season had several dramatic swings in it, from the 3 wins in a row that you had from Italy to Malaysia, and the catastrophic incident at Belgium and Brazil. How do you look back on it, and what can you take away from this season?
The season overall was very, high, low all the time. And obviously started on the high with winning in Australia, but then I had to wait quite a bit for the next win in Azerbaijan, and then in Austria. In terms of my driving, I think In the first few races, I had a little bit of errors that costed me points, but pretty much since Canada, I think. In terms of my driving, I was very happy, especially in the races. I always had the pace for top 3. I always had a good strategy, but there were things like Spain where I got held up in Qualy and then tangled up in incidents, or Belgium, or Germany where I had a lot of bad luck. So obviously the wet qualifying in Malaysia and now the wet race in Brazil were bad performances. So I think if I can work on this season showed me what I can do good and what I have to improve, and I think if I can improve my weaknesses, then especially quali pace, delivering the lap I have in myself, which is a big problem of mine, and obviously the wet weather, this season showed me that I have championship quality, and this is very reassuring for the future.
And finally, you finished 3rd in Season 11, and now you're runner-up here in Season 12, taking the championship fight right down to the wire. So, surely the next step for you is becoming champion next season?
Yeah, last Season 11 I finished tied on points with the Simplay and now runner-up. In Season 12, next season, new season, new luck. Some races I was very lucky, some races not. Also, we don't know yet who signs up for next season, because the leagues are very split up on the PS4 side. And I think with the highlights this season, a lot of new drivers will coming into AOR with great pace, and say that will become champion next season is not realistic. We will see how next season develops. I will just do my best, and then I hope I can do something in a championship fight.
Alright, thank you both for joining me, and that's pretty much it then, guys, for this AOR Season 12 Championship on PS4. What an incredible season it has been. Dan, what are your final thoughts?
It definitely has, Shane, been a great season. That great championship fight, I had no idea which way it was going to go. After Brazil, you got the impression that almost the momentum had shifted towards Nervo, but before that, it appears that whatever Nervo tried to do, his own inability to avoid incidents or avoid corner cutting would gift Alex the championship. But yeah, Nervo was able to come away with it. Some great battles in the midfield, some great performances by drivers. I think at least over half of the drivers were able to get podiums this season. Just thinking all the way back to Australia and then through to Monaco and then Spa, where we didn't commentate, but there was that crazy start incident there. But yeah, it's been a great season full of great memories.
Yeah, obviously after Mexico, we thought Nervo had thrown it away. But yeah, you can never quite predict what's going to happen in Formula 1 or indeed league racing. It has been a pleasure commentating over this season, as I think both me and Dan will agree. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you very shortly for Season 13. But for now, have a good day, enjoy yourselves, and goodbye.